Welcome back to Going to Ground on Friday from Avebury, and I'm puffing up the hill because Effie was desperate to get out, and we've been doing lots of dashing about, throwing the ball and running and catching it again, while Effie stood still and waited for me to return. Gave me a treat when I came back, dropped it at her feet. She likes it that way round. Well, friends, last night I was back in my old manor, far from these hills, in Crystal Palace, London SE19, and realised that it's 23 years ago, not a round number, but it is an anniversary, an important one for us. 23 years ago today that we drove up Gypsy Hill, where I took up my first parish appointment as vicar in December 2000, and it's a very special place for us, and for many people it's the most glorious view over London you could imagine. South London's equivalent of Primrose Hill. I think it surpasses it personally, and you can see right across to St Paul's and all the landmarks of London. And I was doing the last live event, book event and song event of the year, dashed down after Bishop's leadership team in Salisbury, and actually you can't really dash around the M25. There was a bit of dashing, but a lot of crawling as well, and performing at my favourite bookshop, the Bookseller Crow in Crystal Palace. Beautifully personally curated selection of really wonderful books, a lot of them about place. I commend it to you if you're ever in southeast London, and on the triangle of roads there, which is at the very top of the hill, and about which I've written many times in books, because it's the boundary of 5 London boroughs, and also the convergence of ancient parish boundaries that created the London borough boundaries. And it's one of those spots where the linking of landscape and church life has influenced and formed the way we live today. And so always good. And I was singing songs from Evensongs, the new record, and a couple of old South London tunes that I wrote when I was there with my band, the Ephras. Henge in Bloom was one of them. And so a lovely evening, and we were remarking, amongst other things, on the way that landscape unites the countryside and the city, how they're often portrayed as it being as in antithesis, the countryside and the city perhaps encroaching on the countryside, as if they were two different kinds of entity entirely. But of course it's one landscape, and I first became fascinated by the idea of place and rootedness when in South London, not in the countryside, and realising that the fields beneath the concrete carapace were just as real, and the rivers sprang up, pushed through the roads and through the basements in the houses, just as they pushed through the grass in the fields. And of course the river at the bottom of our garden, the River Kennet, is linked to the Thames, just as the River Effra flows into the Thames from Upper Norwood, Crystal Palace. The same veining network of water connects all of those, both of those places, and it's been a consoling thought to me many times that there is this network of water that actually links these places up. And if we focus perhaps less on our own cultural difference or difference of identity in all kinds of ways, and more on the unifying land that we live on and move on, that the land is the great unifying thing, then I think we would do far better as one nation, so to speak. Anyway, it's good to be back at the Barrows. And thank you to all of you who've supported my writing and music this year. It's been a real variety of events and occasions and opportunities to connect with some of you and speak with you, and there'll be more in the new year. I've been thinking a lot about this week the situation with our refugees and asylum seekers, which reaches us in Wiltshire and Dorset particularly, or in all sorts of ways, but particularly this week in the passages on the Bibby Stockholm barge in Portland. And I've been thinking about that. I wrote a little song actually, which I sang last night, and I might put on Going to Ground Tomorrow around that theme. And there'll be more in due course. But it's all about place. It's all about place. So God bless you, friends, as you go to ground.